I'm Lavonne Suwakski, and it's time to do some watercolor painting and get pushing that brush around. Now, if you remember the last episode where I showed how to make the borders, I've already done some of my taping, so you can refer back to that anytime you want to. On the last one, when I made the border, I'm just going to do a little bit of going back on it. When I made the border, and I used the mat, and the mat fitted right into the border, I then did a second one inside of it. This time I've decided instead of doing the second one, I'm going to keep the picture a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to show you the single border. I'm going to show you a picture I did like this, and I'm still working on this one. So this is a work in progress, and here it is. It is, I'll put it right up here because that'll probably show up even better right there. And I've done a house with one of those old-fashioned little roofs, and then I'm putting a window in here next so that, and this has the single border on it as opposed to the double. So I just thought I would show you that one this week. So I'm going to start, better get my stuff together here so I can give you some idea. I'm going to start, this is already taped off to the right size, but because I have a tendency, and you guys may be like me, I don't know. I'm not always the neatest painter in the world. So I'm going to take a little bit of extra tape and just tape the bottom of where the mat is going. Now this should be under a mat, but if by some chance you don't get it on exactly correct, this way it will be covered, and you'll have it won't be covered, this will be covered now, but you'll have a nice clean edge all the way around. So I'm just covering my excess. Sometimes when people do this and they put the blue can be a little bit challenging because your values tend to change a little bit. It's quite a contrast, but if you don't mind it, it's a great thing to do. You can use regular, see, I didn't even make that big enough, regular masking tape, and I'm just going to cover these up just so I don't have any drips and splatters and everything else. Okay, here we go. Now I'm ready. The picture that I'm going to do today is from, I've got it right here, the original is right here. I was out doing some shots of landscapes, and I came upon this beautiful, beautiful garden with a birdhouse. So I took pictures of the birdhouse, and I have done a drawing of it. Now, the thing I think is kind of, you have to use your own artistic license and appreciation, is that you need to simplify things. If I put the power lines in the picture and I had the telephone pole, it wouldn't be, to me, as interesting. My whole point was this birdhouse. So I'm going to work on the birdhouse right now. I would like the birdhouse to be in a really prime location, and that's going to be this upper part of the picture. If I measure it off and I go in and I take the width of the picture by how high it is, I want my birdhouse right about in there. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to put it a little closer to the middle, and this birdhouse has now, if my drawing isn't perfect, which it usually isn't, I am drawing not in front of the work, but from the side, so I have a good excuse for why it's not perfect. Okay, let's do this, and then I'm going up, and it has a really neat roof on the birdhouse. I think birdhouses, so many of them are handmade or unique They seem to be very unique, many of them. Now you can see a bit of the under part of this, where it is, because the birdhouse is pretty high, and then it has these brackets underneath holding it up, and then it comes down to a pole, a post right here. And I'm going to draw the post coming down, holding this up. Now you're not going to see the whole post because there were flowers in the way. Let me bring this over. Now, if you want to make yours perfect, kind of looks like a street light right now. I'm going to bring this in a little bit, correct my lines. I very rarely do my corrections until I have drawn, or erasures until I've drawn the whole picture. Because if I do this way, I can correct, I know where my corrections are. And down here, I'm going to have all these wonderful flowers, different kinds, maybe some purple ones, because I'm feeling very purple today. So we'll put some nice, I love purpley and pink flowers. And so many are in bloom right now. And I'm going to have some in front of this coming up. Very simple, just keeping it really simple. I don't want much drawing in here because I am going to be able to be a little more free with what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to start, and I have a choice now. My choice is I can squirt with a squirt bottle and give it a little shot down in here if I want, or I can hit some water on this. This is when I have to kind of duck. Random water, or just so there are some little places that are wet, some that are drier, and I can go in. Now, after all of this, and I said I was going to do my erasing, I wasn't going to do any in there. I just want to lighten a few of these lines a little bit, just so they're not so dark. Here, we got one right here. Okay, that's a little bit better. And on these flowers here, I'm just going to randomly hit some color in them, and then I'm going to mix up. This is mostly alizarin crimson, maybe a little rose, and I'm just going to this is what I love about watercolor, how it just runs down. Now, if I didn't have the blue here, the tape, I would have to make sure or wipe up my drips. Right now, I'm just enjoying what's happening. And this is all very similar color, so let's add a little yellow into it. I'm just going to change the color up a little bit and just go in. Oh yeah. I'm going to add a little more of the yellow and see what happens. Get a little color in. So there's a little change, a little variety in here. And I'm changing up to a little smaller brush. That was a 1 inch. I believe this is about a 1/2 inch. And I am going to take now and add my yellow ochre. Some people like raw sienna. And I'm going to mix it with my Prussian blue, just a little bit of the Prussian blue. A lot of it goes a long way. Have a little more yellow in this area. And I'm going to go in here and get some nice, light, wonderful greens going as my base of my picture. Just some nice greens. Light. This is going to be coat number 1. That's a little too yellow right now, so I'm going to add a little more of the Prussian blue. And in a minute, I'm going to show you how you don't have to use the Prussian blue. You can use a variety of other colors, but I'm going to do that in a minute because I have to get this on now. It has to be put on now, or it will not be dry for me to do my next coat. So I'm going to just get some color on here. Let's just plank it on. I'm not even going to be very careful. I'm just getting some color on. Okay. little more down in here. I like to leave some spaces with white in them, or ways to move in and out of the picture. I just think it makes it kind of interesting to have a few areas like this. I can always paint them later and make them a little bit darker, lighter, whatever I want to do. Now, while I'm letting this dry, what I want to show you is that a lot of people ask me how to paint different colors of green. And I've got a piece of paper right here. Now, my normal one, or the one I just did, was yellow ochre and Prussian blue, which could also be phthalo blue or Windsor blue. There's a lot of varieties that go with it. Some people like the siennas, the raw sienna instead. That's up to them. And it makes this, I'm going to bring this right down. It makes this, I'm going right here. This just made this wonderful green color. It's beautiful. I'm going to make it a little stronger, and I'm still mixing the yellow ochre and the Prussian blue, and you can get wonderful varieties of green with this, and it's great. Now, some people, instead of doing that, have asked about using a green out of the tube, say sap green, or one of those types of greens, which I believe I have something like that right here. Don't have too much of it, and I'm going to mix it up here. And you can see that the color is really, I'm going to put it on straight, even with water. It's not a very good grass type of a green. It might be a great color for something else, but in New England, our colors are much more muted. A lot of the times we have maybe more yellows in it than that. So I'm going to take the same color, which I've got the little puddle of it right here, and I'm going to mix it with my yellow ochre. And let's see if I can't make a nice green out of this. Oh, I just did. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it down, and that, see, I like this green better. And if I'm making grasses and things coming up, I can go right in and add some more yellow to it, a little more of the green, and get some great color combinations. As opposed to this one solid color, I get this wonderful variety within it. You can also take the same and you could add one of your blues to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of, you could use Prussian. Now, I've just used a little bit of the ultramarine, which really will dull it a little bit and make it a little different color green. But you can use, and there's 2 or 3 kinds of ultramarine, or you could use, let's try a little bit of the, let's see, that's cobalt. Maybe I could try a little cerulean. Let me get cerulean. I like cerulean. Got a little cerulean. I've got a little of that green. And oh, this makes a very different color green. Now bring the paper back so you can see the variety of colors that I've mixed. And again, this is a very different shade right there. So I just do not use any of the colors, either the greens straight. So it's one of the things I have found that works the best is by mixing the colors. You get a lot nicer shade, and you can get variety in it. When I look and I see like a field of grasses or bushes, I see so many shades within it. And if all I do is use the bottle, the one right out of the tube, I find that I need to add the different colors into it to give it that nice interest and contrast. Now, what I'm gonna do is, these are the flowers. I'm letting this color dry. I'm gonna go in now and I'm going to mix up some ultramarine blue. Now I have a mess here with green. I'm gonna get rid of some of this because it's that green that I wasn't using. I'll just wipe it up. And I'm going to take some of my ultramarine blue and I am going to mix this up with a little bit of the rose that I use in the flowers. Now, I've got too much rose there. It is way too purpley. So I'm going to add a little more ultramarine until I get it to a blue with like a whisper of purple in it. A little more. Not enough yet. Some days I get heavy-handed on one thing and not on the other. That's getting there. Now if I spread that out, oh, I like that color right there. And I'm going to put a little bit of the burnt sienna in it, just a touch, just to gray it a little bit. A little more water. And I am going to go in. The sun is coming from over here. That's in my world, the sun is coming from over here. So this is the top of the birdhouse is going to have a shadow under it, and there'll be a shadow there. The shadow is going to go here and under here. Oh, I love making shadows. Now this shadow is pretty much one color right now, but while I have my brush here, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre and I'm going to drop it, or burnt sienna, doesn't make much difference. I'm going to drop it into my shadow so that there is a warm in the cool. And I'm going to go under this here, and it goes this wonderful little bracket sticks way out over here and comes down, and then we have a shadow on this entire side. I've got to negatively paint around some of this stuff a little bit more, a little more here and there. That looks good. Just go right under here and warm into my cool. Oh yeah. Now I've got a few little areas. I'm going to use the edge of the brush and bring it around and just make sure that I have my edges pretty good right there. This is going to be the light side of the, whoops, a drip. I was explaining to someone the other day why I like working in this manner, up like this. And what I find is when I do this, I find that there's this wonderful flow of the way the paint flows and the pigment flows, and I really, really like it. I know there are other people, it takes a while to get used to though, because you have to pick up your drips. You have a lot of drips and things like that, but you just get these wonderful flows of color coming through. Okay, let's see. I was going to put some purple flowers back in here, and I'm going to use the same color combination I used for the shadow, but I'm going to use more of it. A little bit stronger. I'm not going to put the gray it down any. I'm going to just mix the two colors, and I'm going to get in here and make some little, I don't know what they are, little purple somethings. Good thing I'm not a gardener, huh? Just a little purple something. They're kind of tall and purple. And they'll make those pink flowers look great. And I go up, and I'm just going to go up. They kind of are my version of sort of a lupin, even though I know they're an out, more of in the wild. But there are several flowers that have that same kind of a shape. Oh, does that look nice? Now, if I've got the purples there, I need some, I just can't have it in one place. So let's have one coming up maybe over here. And I go up with the center, and I just go in, and I just take the very edge of this brush. I could do it with a round brush as well, but I just take the edge and I just daub it up and down very gently, just a little movement. I'm not brushing, I'm just letting this thing kind of happen. And then I think I'm going to have a couple somethings over here too, because it's good to have in a few different places. Maybe I'll just have this one. I'm going to bring this off and just soften it so that I'll go right up here with it. So it feels like it's there, but it's maybe further back. Just very soft. And if you find that you look at it and you go, oh, don't know if I like them. They're not showing the shadows enough. I can get in, darken the color a little bit more, and go in and do it. I should wait a minute on this because it's running right to the bottom. I'm going to take this and see if it works better if I go in with my color and I blot my ferrule and get some of the water out so it's not fighting me. There we go, a little darker in a few places. Just give it a feel. Who knows? I'll put a little purple back in here. It might be something you can see between these things. Who knows? Heck, I'm feeling pretty crazy right now. So let's throw a little purple in here. Throw some up in here. All I'm doing is I'm taking my brush with the same color. This is a very small brush. It has long bristles. So when I do this and I tap it, it will tap in an area and I can get these wonderful, hey, if at the end of the painting, if I've got purple all over me, you'll know. And I'll throw some down in here. Oh, that'll be so cool. And if I say, oh, what do I want to do with this? It just looks like a bunch of dots. I can just go in and throw a little bit of water in there and just give the feeling that there's something going on. Leave it to your viewer's imagination. They often like that. Let's put a little something right, maybe here, so it sort of balances off and goes off like that. Okay. Now, if you have drips like that, you can pick them up. And I'm going to take, I have a smaller brush here. It is a liner. I've got a couple of these. They're for doing, we used to call them riggers. They're really teeny. This one's nice. And it's a number 1. I'm going to take some of this green that I have here, wipe this off, and I'm going to have it come up behind here and here. And I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. This brush is really teeny, so the lines are really small, but if I go over it a couple times where I just get a little heavier handed with it, it will show up nice. Oh yeah. I don't know what that is, but I like it. Figure every once in a while I have to tell my picture it's doing a good job. Nobody else is going to do it for me, so got to be positive about what you're doing. I'm going in, and we're going to make some more of these flowers that are up here, and they'll have some stems in them, and I can work some more of this later. And just right now, I think it is about time. I'm going to do this and just test it. Not bad. Okay. What I think will work, because of the way I have this picture here, I need something. I didn't do any sky. I like the picture without a sky. I really, really do. But I think it needs something to set off this birdhouse. So I am going to take, and I'm going to take some of this lovely green that I already made, add a little more yellow ochre to it, and I'm going to bring a branch coming off there. You can tell how carefully I'm painting it. I'm just slapping it down, leaving a few holes. I'm going around the top of the birdhouse, that beautiful, I want to call it finial. I don't know if that's what you call it when it's on top of a birdhouse or not, but it's a beautiful shape. And I'm going to go down and add some more yellow ochre to this mess. Here we go. Oh, I shouldn't say that in front of the picture. Get some more. Edges are important. So I'm going right next to this because I want to pop this birdhouse right out. Now, if this has leaves coming from here that thick, there's got to be something coming out on the other side. So I'm going to just have some leaves coming out here, goes under here, and I can just, this is the end of the branch. Okay. Put a few little things there. Now I'm kind of leaning back and looking at it. I might want a little bit more of something over here. I'm going to wipe my brush because I have a feeling I'm going to have a big run right there. I'm going to come back, put some shapes in here, come around this edge, and just let this kind of happen. Now I'm waiting for a second or two, going to pick up my drips. Every time I do that, I blot my paintbrush so that there, it'll be cleaner. That's kind of nice right here. A few little things like that. Now I'm going to wait. I'm waiting. You know, you can't rush anything. I'm going to take, especially watercolor, I'm going to take a little bit of the Prussian blue, a little stronger this time, a little more of the pigment. I'm wiping the brush, the ferrule, and I'm going to, because the light is coming from here, I want this side of the branches to be a little bit darker, so there's a little dimension to them. And this will be the bottom side of this one. Now, if I do it too soon, it's just going to completely run in. If I wait too late, it's going to be kind of a hard edge. So it's a matter of more or less timing. And I was lucky this time because it really seems to be showing that and just blending in the way I want it to. I can even put a little bit under these little, now see, that was done, and it's a little bit on the dry side. Now that bothered me right there. That shape I do not like. So now when I'm in my studio and I'm working, one of the things I do is I stand away from my work a lot. Going under here. I go back, just like I could do here, pull back to see how it's looking, to see if I've got enough darks, enough lights, whatever it is I need. And it's a wonderful thing. You just get up and move and look and move and look and get one more vision of it. I'm going to soften some of these edges in here. Just go in. This is a thirsty brush. Go in and just soften a few edges just to get that feel. I want to get some more of these little cute little leaves sticking out. There. See, that really pops out the whole top of the birdhouse. I could do it with sky, but the sky would have had to have been very, very strong, couldn't have been much of a cloudy day because you wouldn't have seen. I'm going in and notice I'm using my little too strong with the color. I'm using my finger to brace myself right here, and I'm going in and just doing the edge here so it's neat right there. Okay, I could do the same right in here. And if I do it in one place, I want to do it in more than one the same color, just so it doesn't look like I intentionally was trying to do something. You want it to look like it really is like that. This little leaf could have a little bit of little friend here. Oh, they're all the same size. So I'm going to make one a little bit bigger. There we go. Now that color was really nice. So this is getting dry down here, and I'm just going to take and add some more greens. And I don't want them all over. I just want to have some in areas. This is very green, so I'm going to add a little more little more on the blue side. I want to add it, make it a little more on the yellow side, and just leave some of the beautiful lighter green showing through. Now this, I'm going to put some, see, that's way too dark. So a little more of the yellow ochre. And I'm painting right over the wonderful branches I did over here. Oh well, hey, it's my picture. I can do whatever I want. Isn't that the fun part of painting? I know we always used to joke about that art and fine art can break the rules. That's a good. And a few more little doohickeys, little things in here, little darks to outline these beautiful flowers so they will just maybe pop and look like they're in here. Oh. Okay, now I'm holding off for a second here. I'm going to go in, if this is dry enough, which I think it looks like it's getting there. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to mix a strong dark. I'm going to use my ultramarine blue or my Prussian and my Prussian. I'm going to add a little bit of the red that I used in the flowers, the pink color. So I'm making a nice strong color. Right there. Oh, it's way purple. And I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt sienna. See if I can't settle this color a little bit more of the Prussian blue, a little bit more. Oh, this is. And I'm going to blot the brush. And this is right in here. There is a little window, a little place for the birds to go in. That does that. And I'm going to go in, put my strong dark in it. Now, if I like the way it is, that's great. Or if I say, oh, you know, I'd like a little bit of, oh, that's nice. A little variety in there, a little something soft, something like you can see in it a little bit. I'm going to go in with my yellow ochre and my burnt sienna, and I'm going to just go up to the corners here. Notice I went from this big, huge brush in the beginning, well, not big, huge, but pretty good size, and now I'm down to using this little, here we go. Now I'm going to, and that's not going to stay the way it is right now. I'm going to go in and just put some of this dark in here, and I'm going to do just a touch of, just a little. I could have lifted it with the brush as well. I want that to just kind of appear and disappear right there. I like that. And I'm going to pull back a little bit and look over this way. Yep. I'm going in with a little bit bigger brush than that. And I'm going to mix up some, I like the color I put in that inside. It's kind of a bluey gray color, kind of the color of the roof of this building. And I'm going to put some water in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and, oh, not dark enough. Oh, wow. Boy, I can tell sometimes when I put it down. It's always best to test your colors on a piece of paper first. It really works better if you do. Of course, I say it, and sometimes I don't do it. I'm going to make this into an interesting shape. And that's part of the roof. And let's put, now this had something holding the metal pieces in here, or holding the roof together, and it was almost raised a little bit. So I want to show it, and then I'm going to just blot a little and put a little of that right in here and up in here underneath the, here we go. All right, and a little bit on the edge here of the roof. So it just has that. And then this throws a little shadow. We'll have the little shadow here. And I'm going to pull away a little bit. And look, that's looking very nice. I think I'm going to make this come down into a little bit more of an interesting rounded shape right there. And I hope I'm not in your way when I'm painting this. I'm moving my hand down so in case anyone needs to see. I like that. And if I want, I could blot it. That is kind of a cool color, so maybe I'd like to take some burnt sienna, which is a warm, or yellow ochre. I'm going for the burnt sienna. And just hit it right in here, and here, and here. A little bit more. It was a little bit on the, not as wet as I'd like it side, so I wanted to do that, just like I did there. Oh, that's looking good. Yeah. Now it's time for detail. Just a little detail here and there, you know, a few little darks, maybe breaking the edge here because this is a very long piece without the edge being touched upon. So let me get some small brushes and I can make some weed kind of things, some a little more of the yellows in here. Let's just do this and let them kind of happen. I'm going for, here's my little brush. I'm going to take some of this and let's go in. I don't know what I'm protecting everything for. I think I've got everything taped like crazy. I'm going in and throwing some more nice, if I had it down on a table, I'd just fling the color on, and I would cover up the white of the sky because I wouldn't want that all. Here we go. Oh. I'm going to show you right now that when I take this brush to do the tapping, it took me a long time to figure this one out. But what I do is I take my hand and I put the end of my brush right against my little finger inside the palm of my hand. And then I close my fingers like this. So I'll hold it like this. And I leave this guy free to tap the brush. And if you've got a brush, go home, try your brushes. Try flipping the water even on anything. It doesn't make any difference. Some brushes are so much better than others for it. I find sometimes some of the more expensive, the hair on doesn't move as well as it could be some very inexpensive brush that works well. Save it for this. And I have different sizes. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you how I do the tapping. Now, especially if you're working down, I just tap, tap, tap with this finger. Can you see the finger is tapping? I just tap it and it will give this wonderful, wonderful effect. I do this when I do a lot of things. I just love to have the mixtures of all the colors here, and then people see it, and to them it's some kind of it looks like some kind of maybe a tall plant or a little bit of the greens. Oh, I can see it right there. It's looking good. You can also do the same if you do an area and you want to soften it. You can just take clean water and you can do the same thing with the clean water. You can tap as well. Tapping is a little more controlled. When I first started doing it and tapping, there was one day I I guess I must have been tapping it. It must have been flying everywhere. And I ended up going to the grocery store, and I came home and I walked into my door, and I have a mirror at the door, and I looked up, you know, just glanced across the room, and there I was, completely covered, my glasses, everything covered with paint. I just wish somebody had grabbed me in the grocery store and said, hey, you know, you've got paint all over you. I was covered. My hands were clean, but my face wasn't, because I hadn't looked at it. But when I'm doing it like this, I'm pretty controlled in what I'm doing. I'm getting better at it. You get better at everything when you practice. I'm going to put some in here. Oh, this is so much fun. And now I'm just putting water to soften some of these, and it will just soften. I need a few of these over here too, because if you have them in one place, you want to have it in the other. And now all I'm doing, I just sprinkled some of the pink, and now I'm going in and doing this. This is a thing that I also do if I want my green to be greener. I really want my green to look stronger. You can also go in, I'm getting a little more red on this, and you can hit the red into the green, a little bit of it, and it will just give your green a livelier look because it's a complementary color. Now I can't even work in here anymore. Oh. I'm looking for my little bitty, the little one with the, oh, I got it right here. Okay. I'm going to take this brush and I'm going into my burnt sienna. Maybe I'll put a little bit of purple or blue into it. And I'm going to come across, and from over here, I want to show a little bit of where the branches that this is coming from. I can do something as easy as just a little bit of something poking through. You can just see a little bit of it. This one will come from here, and it's going to go down. And then I'm going to bring, this one comes across, whoops, and it does like this. And we can give it a few little things. I have an extra one here. I don't know, I'm going to have to figure this one out right there. Yeah, and now that guy should be from over here somewhere. I have to work my way back. There. And I can do the same down in here. I can put some little twigs, little tiny trees that might have been. Now, if you want to put a leaf on them, you certainly can. Maybe these are just, you know, I like just twigs. And there's one over here, so I'm okay there. I'm going to put this one going up, and I'm going to take this now. I'm working. This part basically to me is finished. What I will work on is down here to just create some stronger colors behind. I'm going to get the bigger brush. Why work harder if you don't have to? I'm going to grab some yellow and some blue or green, whichever I prefer, and I'm going to go back here so I can show the edge, not strong enough, not dark enough, so I can show the edge of this, a little more yellow in it, the edge of the pole that the birdhouse is on. I'm going to go negatively. I'm going to paint negatively around the stems here, so that I'm going to try and show that there might be some stems with some dark greens behind them. Okay, let's get in here. I want to leave some place though, some white can show through. Let's get some green down in here, just so it does something. Oh, it's going to run. I like that. Get some nice colors. Now this is dark. I usually try to work some color across so that the emphasis, there'll be some strong darks near my center of interest. I want to put it up in here so everybody will want to look at that birdhouse. And then I'm going to work some strong darks into some of these areas, just so we're going to put some greens in here so it looks like, I'm going to throw in some straight yellow ochre just because. Why not? Here we go. Yeah, down over here. And I'm just putting it little places. I'm trying to give the feeling that there's all kinds of stuff growing here, and I can put a little bit of green on the tops of some of these, so maybe they're looking a little more like they're young trees. But just a little bit. I don't want them to overwhelm the picture. Just a little bit here and there, so they give the feeling that maybe they're like a little something here and there. Oh, that's pretty good. Let's see, yeah. The only thing I'd like to do now, as I'm looking at it, I do a little evaluation all the time, is I would like to get in here and just create a little bit stronger on some of these flowers, just so that they will take the person's eye. Here we go. I like this. Oh yeah. It's beginning to just work. You just need a little bit of something. Just a little bit more, a little strong. So when you do that, you notice I'm not blotting it. I just add a little more water and spread it out, and it will just give that nice feeling there. I think I would like to take and make this under here just a little darker so that it will stand out a little bit more. And I might do the same down there. But I'm going to stop right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off. And I'm going to take the tape off this one because I love taking the tape off. This is like opening presents for me. At home, if you're doing this, wait, don't rush. I'm only doing this so it doesn't drip when I take it off, but normally I would wait probably half an hour to an hour and then take the tape off when I know that most of this is pretty dry. But oops, this doesn't want to come off. One piece, I believe it or not, I save all these pieces and then I use them for the bottom. I recycle a lot of the tape. If you just do it like this, you can use it over again. I'm going to grab this piece right here. Oh yeah. Okay. I love taking the tape off. And I think I mentioned this the last time, in the last episode. Try to pull your tape away at an angle from your picture. Don't just go like this. Pull it away so that it pulls either down or up so that it's in an angle. It usually comes off a lot better that way. And now I'm going to show you this I've got two different mats. My white mat looks really not so clean. It's got a lot of drips on it, but here it is. I'm going to, hold on a sec. I can raise this. But how do I get it to stay up? I'm going to raise it. These are like engineering marvels. These. Now, I'll show it to you with the white mat, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it to you with a color mat. This is a black, which I think is the whole point is you can do it with different color mats. I tell you, You got to pat yourself in the back sometime. I've got this lined up so almost perfectly up here that it is just going to fit beautifully with this on. And I use a lot of clips. So I've got a couple clips here. And here is the picture, and it is looking pretty good. Let me stand back and look at it. Yeah, a few places that I'd probably touch up a little bit, put a little bit maybe more pink or a little bit more purple, just to get a little stronger color maybe. But the way it's looking right now, I'm pretty happy for the shape it's in, or the position it's in right now. So I hope you all enjoyed watching this and will explore your own watercolors. Maybe it'll encourage you. I certainly hope so. So until the next time, keep on pushing that brush around.